I'm here with Robert Dempsey of Shire, who has a new role that we'd like to talk about. Yes, you are now, please tell our fans.
I am now the global head of the ophthalmics franchise. And do you want me to tell you what that means?
I do.
Fantastic. So obviously over the last 3.5 years, I was primarily responsible for the launch of Xiidra in the US. Based on the success of the launch in the US, now they've told me to take that secret sauce and go global. Wow. So obviously very excited about this opportunity. And so in the process of building out our team, and really from a global perspective, we're looking at continue to expand in North America with Canada, into Europe, into the Gulf countries, in addition to Asia Pacific as well as Latin America. So, I mean, from a standpoint of the global expansion of the franchise, it's very exciting. I mean, to kind of take the quote unquote secret sauce of what we did in the US and apply it now on a global basis is very exciting. And to give you a few numbers, Tom, I mean, we're looking at approximately 25 NDA filings and/or approvals over the next 18 months.
Wow. So, I'm asking for numbers. What is it? What is dry eye as? Is it as large a problem in all these other markets as it is in the U.S., or do we have it worse than others?
Well, you know, it's actually compared to other disease states, it's probably the reverse. So, as we know in the U.S., about 30 million patients with symptomatic dry eye, and on a global basis, we're looking at about 350 million.
Wow.
But the market in the US is almost a mature market. When you look at Europe, when you look at Asia Pacific, when you look at Latin America, the market is very much in its infancy stages. Mm-hmm. So we will have to invest a lot on physician education, on patient education, to really increase the awareness of dry eye. And the reason is, for most of these countries that we're targeting, Xiidra will be the first product approved for the signs and symptoms of dry eye disease.
Wow. So is that helpful? I mean, obviously it's great to be the first, but are they more likely to go with eye drops and lubricants, kind of the first tier thing, or if they're using Xiidra, they're way beyond that already, and they're in need of something more?
I think that's a great question, and that's going to be our challenge, is to look at the treatment algorithms for dry eye. Oftentimes the physicians across the globe are using artificial tears, then maybe a steroid, and now obviously we want them to introduce a therapeutic option. And the reason for that is cyclosporin is primarily the sales are generated in the US. Mm-hmm. The sales outside the US are very limited. So we will have a lot of work to do from a market development standpoint, and something we're very excited about.
So when would you hope to get commercial approval in some of these countries? When does this roll up again?
Yeah, so from a big picture perspective, I mean, we should have approval, depending on regulatory authorities in Health Canada, by the first quarter 2018. And then with all of the filings we have in Europe and in the Gulf countries, we should have numerous countries coming online at some point in 2018.
So they know Jennifer Aniston in Canada, so that should be pretty seamless, right?
Well, I mean, some of the collateral of the US can be used in certain markets. Canada happens to be one of them. But unfortunately, as we look at some of the other countries in Europe in particular, our direct-to-consumer campaign with Jen, unfortunately, we will not be able to utilize.
So different strategies that you have to then go the good old-fashioned way, work through the physicians and sell to them.
Good old-fashioned way, and probably the other biggest difference we see in Europe in particular is in the US, a lot of our success has been driven by the optometric market. I mean, close to 60% of our prescriptions come from ODs. In Europe, it'll be much different. It'll be really a ophthalmology-focused campaign that the team and I will be implementing.
So the ODs in other countries don't have the same ability to prescribe?
Yeah, with the exception of Canada and Australia. Now keep in mind, we are targeting those countries. Optometrists are able to prescribe, but when you enter mainland Europe, very limited contribution by optometry.
Very interesting, okay. So, and how about, are you getting into patient influencers and such? Are you working with those popular, patients who have a following on social media? Is that a useful strategy?
It has been in the US. We have to learn more about the quote-unquote patient journey in Europe. As of right now, probably won't be utilized, but obviously we're looking at any and all opportunities.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So you do more than dry eye. You're in
Yes.
charge of the
Yes,
entire
yes,
ophthalmic
yes.
franchise. What else do you have going on?
So in our pipeline, probably another very exciting dry eye program is through a deal that we have with Perion Sciences. So this was for a sodium channel blocker. By blocking the sodium channel junction on the ocular surface, you maintain ocular surface hydration. So obviously with cyclosporin and lifitegrast, they're working as anti-inflammatories, but we all know dry eye is a multifactorial disease. So with this program that we have from Perion Sciences, we feel that this could be another opportunity to treat dry eye with another mode of action, and potentially, almost a synergistic effect will occur with another mode of action, similar to what we see in glaucoma and other common conditions that ophthalmologists treat.
Interesting. And outside of dry eye?
Yeah, so outside of dry eye, we have a phase 3 program for infectious conjunctivitis, which, if approved, would be the first product with an indication for both adenoviral and bacterial conjunctivitis. That is in phase 3. That is a global program. So as my responsibilities now are on the globe, we're very excited to partner with ophthalmologists, whether it's in Europe and Latin America and Asia Pacific, with this very exciting program we have for infectious conjunctivitis.
And you're in charge of business development. Are you seeing some interesting opportunities in any space?
Yeah, I mean, I think this meeting in particular, Tom, really was very exciting, and especially this morning when really was focused on the posterior segment, and in particular, something that's very near and dear to Shire is the rare diseases. So some of the progress that we've seen with these inherited retinal diseases are just phenomenal, and we're very excited to potentially partner with some of those companies. It's core to Shire's business philosophy to be in rare diseases, and to take that approach and apply it to the ophthalmic space, I think, is something the team and I are very excited about.
That's terrific. Well, glad we could bring you all together.
Yes.
Well, we're coming upon, next year will be our 10th OIS at AAO, so
Wow,
it's causing me
very
to
exciting.
ask questions about where were we 10 years ago, where are we going 10 years from now? How would you assess the last 10 years in terms of global ophthalmology innovation?
Yeah, I think it's been truly an amazing time, and I think the OIS really is the opportunity for it's the thinking area of ophthalmology. It's the early stage companies, it's the strategics, it's the KOLs, it's the investment community all coming in. And you look at over the past 10 years to what I actually saw today, clearly, in my opinion, the best OIS. The room was packed. We had well over 1,000 people standing in the back. And to see that I was probably at one of the first meetings to where you are now, it really is it's a tribute to the team that you have, the commitment by the ophthalmic community on innovation, focus on innovation, I think is really a testament to the great job OIS is doing.
I appreciate that. Well, looking forward, what are we going to be talking about in 2027 when you're
I think
King of Shire, or whatever title you have then?
Well, that would be fantastic. But I think we'll see some of these early stage companies, whether it's gene therapy, I think we'll see advances in drug delivery. I think we'll see new surgical interventions for various conditions. I think we're really on the cusp of some significant advances that all of these companies have invested in, and the physicians and academia coming together and really addressing the significant unmet needs that we see in the ophthalmic space.
What will dry eye look like specifically? I mean, you've got a lot of companies here that are targeting this market. You're the leader right now. Or among the leaders right now, what do you think it'll look like 10 years from now?
I think the market will be, there'll be other modalities on the market, first of all. I think the US will continue to lead in the area of dry eye, but I think with Shire's plan to go global, I think other companies will follow us. And I think that when you look at from a global perspective, well over 350 million patients with dry eye, I think you'll see multiple therapeutics in Asia Pacific, in Latin America, and in Europe. And a lot of companies that continue to invest in this very chronic condition that the ophthalmologists see on a regular basis.
Excellent. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. Safe travels on your new gig.
Yes. Thank you.
We'll see you at a future OIS.
Sounds good, Tom. Thanks again. I appreciate it.